All right, Dynamite just ended. I thought the show was pretty good. I was very satisfied with it. And the first thing we'll obviously talk about the Will Kenny Omega situation. And Will not being a Death Rider anymore literally gave his patch back. Now, if you watch my previous video, I thought that since he had it on his jacket and everything, did the entrance and everything, that it wasn't going to be over quite yet. And it did seem like Mox gave him a chance to kind of like see what he wanted to do, but Will gave his patch back, so he's not Death Rider anymore. And when Will walked away, Hangman came out, got a big pop, basically just told him like, "Hey man, I believe you. You know, you can do it," and all that. So good to see Hangman. Hangman also came back out at the end of the show, but from the beginning of Will giving his patch back to the Death Riders, we'll talk about the promo at the end. And basically, Kenny just doesn't trust Will because I think the big thing is that the reason why he hit him with the One Wing Angel was that after Will came in, he understood that Will stopped the Death Riders from like stomping the chair on his neck. But what got to him was how long it was until Will helped him up. And actually, I don't even think Will helped him up. I think Kenny just got up on his own. But when Kenny got up, he got up to see Will holding the belt and then the plastic bag being on the ground. Granted, even though he didn't use it, he saw Will holding the title and the bag on the ground. He realized, oh, you didn't help me up because you were thinking about using the bag and now you're holding the title. So, regardless of whether or not he was going to use it or not, just the fact that he even thought about it was enough for Kenny to do that. Which, hey, it makes perfect sense. Now, in my last video, I was like, Will has made two different choices to not do what Mox wants him to do. So maybe that'll factor in, but no, it doesn't. And Kenny's justified. So, it makes sense all story wise. I was a little sad that Will wasn't gonna stay with the Death Riders. I thought that'd be interesting. And it's funny because in his promo, he said he liked being a Death Rider. He liked having killers with him that had his back, but he doesn't like the way that they ultimately do things and doesn't like Moxley's philosophy, which is funny because I've seen people on Twitter being like, wow, you joined a group of terrorists, but now when they do terrorist things, it's like now you're like, whoa, man, let's not murder the guy, which is so funny because at Redemption, it's like, oh, you don't want to break his neck with a chair? All right, well, I have this plastic bag, so let's just fucking suffocate him. And also, Will is justified for not wanting to fucking murder people, so everybody's justified. But their interaction, I don't think it turns either of them heel. And this is something that I've been preaching. I don't know if I say preaching. I probably mentioned it in like a couple of videos where if you have two baby faces, you don't necessarily have to have one of them turn heel. You can just have them have tension and beef with one another that doesn't make either one of them be the bad guy. And this is a perfect example of it. And I liked how Will explained his reasoning for being with the Death Riders because he felt like he didn't have anyone, but the guy that broke his neck was the one that was like, "Hey, we can rebuild you." And both Mox and Kenny both have a moment with Will, just being like, "Hey, you see how that worked out for you? Like you have I guess like a little vignette or whatever of Mox in the back at Redemption, basically calling out that, oh yeah, like Kenny's gonna turn on you, and then it happens, and Mox is just like sitting there like, I fucking told him. And then once Will gets in the ring with Kenny, he's like, yeah, I warned you about all this Death Rider stuff, and look how that turned out. And it's really all playing into Will not pulling the trigger and him not taking the moment or seizing the moment. And it's coming from both sides, from his opponent and from the people that helped him. So that it's really a huge question of like, is Will going to be able to do what he needs to do to actually win the title? So that's the big emphasis on it, and it's being touched on multiple ends, and that's I feel like that's being done pretty well. The Detroit crowd was lit the entire night. Like they were like so lit for like the match announcements, like the show rundown. Like just from that alone, I'm like, this is crazy. Like it was a great crowd. And the show started off with the triple threat for the national championship. Andrade, Jack Perry, Nick Wayne. Great opening match. Uh I'm really liking Andrade being the national champion. And I mean, yeah, it was a pretty good match. Nick Wayne came back from competing in the G1. I don't think it's over yet, or if he's just like eliminated. No, he didn't compete in the G1. I'm stupid. It's like I forget the weight class, but it's like the junior super junior tournament that they have in Japan. He came from that, so now he's been getting more matches. I think he had like two matches on, had a match on Collision, I think before, and then he had the qualifying match, was in the ladder match. Now he's in this match. He's doing really well. I feel like sometimes he's like gesturing to the crowd a little bit too much, or like just doing like the mannerisms to try to like get the crowd like involved or get them like hyped up for what he's about to do. And it worked better in this match because the crowd was just lively for just about anything. But in the qualifying match, it wasn't they weren't really connecting like that. And I always feel like it's weird when I wouldn't say it's weird, but like I understand wrestlers doing it, but I feel like if they don't do it the first two times, you don't need to do it excessively because then it looks like you're trying to get a dead crowd to you're trying to like uh what's the word I'm looking for? You're trying to liven you're trying to give life to a dead crowd and they're just not caring. And I feel like that looks worse when you try to get them hype and then they just don't do it. Because that truly means they don't care. And I feel like that happens a lot with Jericho. In all honesty, like there's times where he like waves his hands like, come on. And like they only get like maybe like a decibel louder. But I feel like just go about the match and do your gestures and taunts and stuff, but I feel like do it as if you're doing it to hype yourself up. Hype yourself up. Can I fucking talk, bro? I'm like stumbling over my words. Do it as if you're hyping yourself up instead of trying to get the crowd involved. The face to face with Christian Cope and the Young Bucks was pretty good, and it's basically both of them, well, both of the teams saying like why this match means so much to them, and for I'm trying not to say Edge, but for Edge and Christian, for them, it's showing that they're one of the best tag teams through multiple generations. And for the Young Bucks, their legacy as is it Matt? That Matt describes it is how many times they hold the AEW tag team championships. So if they win, they will be four-time AEW tag team champions, and that's the most in history. And for Christian and Cope, they just want to be the best all around through both generations. And the Young Bucks talk about how it's been 2 years since it's been 2 years since they had the tag team championships. And Edge is like, yeah, I get it, y'all haven't had it for 2 years, but like it's been like 25 years for us. And then they both of them together haven't wrestled for 17 years because of neck injuries. So he's like, we don't want to play the game of like how long we haven't had titles because we haven't had careers for longer than y'all haven't had titles. So I really like that from both perspectives. Both teams really, really want the titles, and that's what I mean, that's all you can ask for, really, when it comes to that. So now I was about to say TNC, the TBS title match with Maya Ward and Persephone was pretty good. I'm gonna just keep it a bean. I'm gonna keep it hot with y'all. I enjoyed this match way more than the redemption match with Ishida, in all honesty. And Persephone is so good. She's CMLL Women's World Champion. Her look, presence, her strength, like it's a full package. I like to see her more on AEW, but she is the world champion of CMLL. But I do enjoy her matches whenever she has matches on AEW. Now I got so scared at the end of this match when Sheeta came out because I'm like, there's no way that we're gonna screw her out of this title so quickly. But I also Sheeta just came out and I'm just like, why? Like why? Like I thought there would maybe be like a post match like beat down or something. And when she threw the candlestick in, I'm like, please God, no. But then Statlander came out, stopped Persephone from using it. So I'm glad about that. We'll probably TBS style scene looks like it's those four because all of those four were in the survival of the fittest match, and I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. I'm trying hard not to like rag too much on Sheeta. So whenever her next match is, I'm gonna try to not be so pessimistic because it might just be that I just like the other wrestlers more than her because I want to give her a fair shot, and I feel like I'm just being a hater. But we'll see. The championship celebration with Willow was great. The crowd loved her. She was damn near crying. And she got pyro, she had streamers. And then she has her promo, talks about fighting back from injury and everything. Then Mercedes comes out. She has a contract. She's like, just sign the damn contract. And Mercedes says that through all of her big moments in AEW, like she's either had to gone through Willow or Willow's been like the cause of it. Like when she had to get the TBS title, she had to beat Willow, and then when she lost the TBS title, she was like in the midst of her Ultimo Monet stuff. When she had all the titles, she lost the TBS title to Willow, and then now to get the world title, she has to go through Willow. So like Willow's the common denominator through all of her. I mean, not say all, but through some of her big moments in AEW. So then they start getting a little physical. They start to fight a little bit. Then Divine Dominion come out, beat up on Willow. They choke slam her. And then the Brawling Birds come out. And then that's going to be a trios match at Grand Slam Mexico. And then obviously we're having Brawling Birds versus Divine Dominion at All In. And they'll probably win because it's in London. So then you'll probably have two matches where the hometown people win. Now, this is gonna be some glaze. I'm gonna be honest, but John Moxley's entrances through the crowd, I enjoy a lot. They're just cool, from whatever kind of little reveal that they do at the beginning, from whatever random ass corner of the backstage of the venue that they're at is, to him walking out into the crowd. I always like it. But in this theater, like when he comes out, it's like the ramp goes up into it. So you go up into it and then you see the top of the theater. And it's like it's a little unique. It's not just straight lights, but you also see like people hanging over. So he's walking up and then when he finally goes up to it, you see people from the sides. Like it was just so cool with the music. the mannerisms that he does, especially when he comes out alone and it's just him, it just kind of seems like he's just taking in the energy from the crowd, and he's just like, I don't know. I really don't know how to describe it. Like, just like he kind of like swaggers about, kind of like shakes around, just like looks around, just makes faces and stuff. Like he's just taking in the energy, and it's just like, I don't know. Like in reality, he's probably just in the moment, just taking in the energy from the crowd. And he always does the things where like, he'll like stand still, then he'll just extend his arms out and get like a little tiny pop, little bit more roar from the crowd. But I love it. I love it. And with what he cares about in wrestling, which he mentions in the promo later, about like being like man to man in the ring, like one on one, seeing who's the best, leaving it all out. He's the perfect person to have the Continental title right now. Truly the perfect person. And I'm gonna do a video sometime later about how his arc through the end of All In last year to him winning the Continental Classic is proof of having big stars lose can actually help build a story. Because that whole arc of him losing, then him losing a lot, and then Death Rider slightly losing faith in him, and then him getting faith back from the Death Riders, and also getting favor from the crowd from actually doing stuff by himself. Like all of like that whole thing, that was such a good story, but you wouldn't have that without him getting choked out by Hangman, him losing to Kyle O'Reilly, I think at Full Gear, and him being afraid of submissions. You don't get the moment of him getting over his own personal hurdles without him losing a lot. And in another company, they don't want their top guys to lose. But if you have them lose more, you build more story that way. But with the match with Commander was good. It was really good. There hasn't been a mid match. There hasn't None of the matches were bad or mid or uninteresting. I enjoyed every match. The crowd seemed to enjoy every match. And I think this is an excellent episode. Now, maybe it's not the best. I don't know, but I was very hyped for this episode. So I don't want to sit here and be like, "Oh, it's the best episode ever." But I was excited for it. I've been waiting for it, and I was satisfied. Now, okay, now we're gonna talk about the main event, match wise. And one thing, a pet peeve that I have with the conglomeration is that for the most part, it was Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly. They would not wear the fucking belts. They would have them in those fucking backpacks, and I feel like that's so stupid, especially in a company where there's so many titles. I feel like you need to display them if you have them, so that at the very least, a new viewer can see what that specific title looks like. Because for the most part, Roderick Strong would be the only one that would wear the title normally. Like he would always like wear it around his waist during entrances, during backstage segments. But the other two, Kyle and Orange Cassidy, would have it in their backpacks. What's the point of having the title if you don't show it whenever you can? I just feel like it's stupid, and and I'm sure like it's a very like small thing, very nitpicky thing as like a regular view because you know like okay like you know that they're champions, but for a new viewer if they're doing a backstage segment and Renee is like, hey, these are the trios champions, and only one of them was wearing the belt, it's going to cause some confusion. And knowing AEW's camera work sometimes, they might not even get the shot of them in the ring when Kyle and Orange Cassidy takes them out of the bags. Like they just might not get that shot. Like they're gonna do that spot. Well, there's like a good like 50-50 chance on whether or not the camera's actually going to like get that shot. And I bring it up now because this time Roderick had his championship in the backpack. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. What's the point? If you have the title, display the title. Be proud of the title. I don't know what part of their gimmick makes the backpack so necessary. But I feel like it's so stupid. But nonetheless, that's really my only gripe. I just want you to display the title that you currently hold. That's it, man. That's it. But they have their title match with the Demand. They start brawling early. They do a bunch of spots before the match starts, and match was good. I think the only thing that I took note of is that when Orange Cassidy does his hands in the pocket spot, he didn't build up to it because when Toa Leona got in the ring, he just put his hands in his pockets immediately, and then Toa is doing the thing. He puts his hands up, but then he grabs Orange Cassidy's hands while they're in his pocket and literally just lifts him up, which I thought was good. Because it's a good way of having both wrestlers like show their character with Orange Cassidy like still having his hands in his pants, but Toa like doing a little bit of the funny stuff, but also like showing the strength of his own wrestling ability and character by just lifting him up while Orange Cassidy's in his gimmick. So that was fun. And this match ends with the lethal twist interfering, and then that's what gives the Demand the upper hand. Ricochet hits Spirit Gun, and new trios champions. And I'm all for it. I like the Demand. I like Gates of Agony. I like Ricochet. So I think it's good. I didn't think that they were gonna do it because I can't think of any other like who are they gonna go against if not the conglomeration again? Because I can't think of that many face trios that are available. There are like actual groups because at the end of the match, all the bad guys jump the conglomeration. Then Hangman Page comes out with a steel chair wrapped in barbed wire, and then mostly everybody leaves out. But then Jay Lethal is still in. He takes the chair out of Hangman's hands. Oh yeah, and Brody King came out. Weird that Brody King came out, but not Bandito. But maybe Bandito's just like I don't fuck with him. But yeah, but Brody King was out there as well. And then Hangman hits a buckshot, so he stands there with the conglomeration, Brody, and yeah, Hangman, Brody, conglomeration. They stand there in the ring while the Demand and the Lethal Choice are on the outside. So I wonder if Hangman is gonna be in like another like random group and be a trios champion because he was trios champions with Jet Speed, and I mean that was pretty good. But that was also like very random because that was when Powerhouse Hobbs was leaving, his contract was up, so then they had to take the titles off of the Ops. But Jet Set Rodeo was cool. I liked it. But yeah, I was a pretty good Dynamite. I might cover Collision tomorrow, depending on how much stuff happens. I'm definitely gonna watch it. And yeah, I'll probably do SummerSlam predictions. I'll probably do it Friday night, so I'll probably be up like Saturday morning. I know I've been saying like, oh, I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna wait till the last minute so that post something that morning. You could watch it, then watch SummerSlam later. Do my night one review afterwards, and yeah. So until then, tune in next time.